Hi guys, today we're going to talk about Keto Plateau. Okay, you get on the ketogenic plan and you lose all this weight initially, maybe like the first month or 6 weeks, but then things start slowing down. What's happening? This is very frustrating. It may cause you to want to quit or stop, but you may not because of all the other benefits. You might be looking better, feeling better in your clothes, and you might have no cravings, no hunger, and have more energy. Okay. But let's just talk about plateau in general. You know about the Biggest Loser, right? These people work out basically 8 hours a day. They reduce the calories. They eventually lose the weight. Do they gain the weight back? Yes, pretty much all of them gain the weight back. Why? Because of this one simple fact. Losing weight is not a normal thing for the body. It's anti-survival. I mean, just think about what fat is. Fat is stored energy. In fact, your body doesn't even care what you look like. It just wants to store the energy and hold it. You know this is true because it's much easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. All right, so now when you go on a diet, and I'm talking about a low-calorie diet, your metabolism will adjust and it will start slowing down. It will adapt and you will eventually create what's called a set point, which is a weight that it's almost impossible to bust through. So let's say, for example, you're on the program and you get to, let's say, 180 or 170, and you just can't seem to get below that, okay? You're just like, no matter what you do. So what really stops you from busting through that plateau, that set point, that weight that your body's very comfortable at, is high levels of insulin, okay? So too much insulin will counter your ability to burn fat because it prevents fat burning, okay? And usually what comes along with that is insulin resistance. So the combination of insulin resistance, which the majority of the population has, and excessive insulin, they both go hand in hand, is what's behind this set point, okay? All right, the big question is, does keto slow your metabolism like other diets? And the answer is this: not if you're adding intermittent fasting, okay? Now, why do I say that? And by the way, what's the difference between intermittent fasting and a low-calorie diet? Some people will say they're the same thing because you are consuming less calories if you're not eating so frequent, right? Well, there's a huge difference. And it boils down to this one reference right here in Guidance Physiology, okay, on page 930. And we're talking about other factors that stimulate insulin, okay? It says gastrointestinal hormones. There's a hormone called GIP. Now, what does that mean? It means that when you eat frequently, you trigger insulin. So keto is low carb, and that's going to lower insulin. Intermittent fasting is less frequent eating, less GIP hormone, less insulin, okay? So both these actions, keto, low carb, intermittent fasting, less frequent eating, will lower insulin and improve this set point, this plateau. Whereas low calories doesn't focus on frequency of eating. In fact, when you're on a low-calorie diet, you have to eat frequent meals and snacks. You're probably doing 5 to 6 meals, small meals. Well, try this experiment at home. Go ahead and fast, and then go ahead and eat just a little bit of protein. Let's say 2 strips of bacon, and I've done this before. You eat just a little bit of protein. I will guarantee within an hour, you are going to be starving, okay? Why? Because of this. You're eating, and every time you eat, you spike insulin, almost regardless of what you eat, anything. So it'll spike insulin, the blood sugars will be plummeted, and then you will be hungry. So with low-calorie diets, you are constantly hungry, okay? And you have more insulin production. With intermittent fasting, despite having the same amount of calories, okay, as a low-calorie diet, you have less insulin spike because you're not eating so frequently. But the cool thing is, you're not hungry. Why? Because when you lower insulin, you finally get to tap into your fat reserve. Now, there's a great analogy is that someone added to one of my comments on the YouTube channel. When you're doing a low-calorie diet and you're dependent on sugar fuel, you're basically living paycheck to paycheck because you're dependent on the sugar. Okay, you're not tapping into the fat. To tap into fat, you have to lower the insulin. When you're doing keto and IF, you're tapping into your reserve fuel, the fat. This is your wise investments that build up a reserve over time that give you interest. Now with this model, you may have a huge reserve in the bank. You might have $1 million in the bank, but you're not able to tap into it because insulin is like the lock that holds it there. All right, so in order to tap into this fat, you need to lower insulin, and that's going to help lower your set point. Now, the main reason why you get a plateau on keto mainly has to do with your past dieting, okay? You may remember when the first time you did a diet, it worked. Second time, maybe it worked. Third time, it didn't work as great. Fourth time, it's not working that great. And then to the point where now it doesn't work at all. All that means is you've generated so much insulin in your body and so much insulin resistance, that's what's really behind this problem. So when you do keto, and you definitely need to add IF to it, and that's the secret, to speed this up, realize that the barrier is the high insulin, and you need to actually do a little bit lower carb with the keto, and you need to decrease the frequency of eating and get a little bit stricter with your intermittent fasting. Now, a lot of you, based on survey, are doing a 6-hour window of eating and an 18-hour fast, okay? But you're still doing 2 meals, which is fine. But if you plateaued and you want to speed things up, okay, what you want to do is you want to go down to 1 meal a day. Okay, it's called OMAD. What that will do, that will speed things up because you're going to really drop insulin down. And the other tip you want to do is when you do keto, start to lower your carbs even below 20 grams, maybe down to even 10 grams or even lower, okay? And there's one more thing that you want to do that I talk about in other videos, and I'll put the link down below. It's called prolonged fasting. You can do it periodically, once a week, do once a month. So I put a link down below on that video specifically. And I also put a link down below of how I would recommend doing intermittent fasting. So check it out, bust through the plateau through lowering your insulin, improving insulin resistance. Thanks for watching. So I want to thank you for being here and watching my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so you can stay informed of future videos.